There you go. Good morning. So let's get started with the Aruba update session. A lot of things to tell. You'll see. Let's get started. First of all, with Aruba, HPE and Aruba, they have two specific product lines. Go-to-market for the SMB market, they call it Aruba Instant On. For the medium and enterprise market, it's the regular, I should say, Aruba branding. I'm gonna give you an update on both of them, okay? Because I know here in Belgium how we have from really small to really big enterprises, and I want to show you that with Aruba, indeed, we have a lot of great products, wired and wireless. So first of all, let's focus on the SMB market, so the smaller entry-level market, which is called Instant On. But what we see there personally is that indeed it is a fast-growing market. So the Instant On market, we see the last year a huge growth in there. Okay, we're talking here about 10, 20, maximum 25 network devices. And when I call network devices, I'm talking about or a switch, a wired switch, or a wireless access point. And really fun here is that I'm going to show you the latest announcements, because on the wired and on the wireless segment, there are some new announcements that were made even last week. So I have really hot off the press announcements for you, which I think I see a lot of opportunities there. Okay, and they're available. So please let us know or reach out to us. Now, these are just the numbers, just to show you that indeed, I don't have to tell you that indeed wireless is everywhere, with Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and also 4G, and now 5G, and probably one day 6G as well. I see this when I go with my kids to the restaurant. The first thing that they do with their smartphone is their Wi-Fi. Yeah, everything is connected these days. I'm thinking about IP surveillance that also need networking. So it goes much further than, hey, I just need a connection for my server. No, most of the things are connected these days. I challenge you. I do it every month. I do it for myself. Go take a look on your local DHCP server at home, on your wireless connection at home, and see how many IP addresses that are distributed. And so this is why there's more and more pressure on that network, not only at home, but also in the business. And when we take a look at the use cases, I have some use cases later on as well, where that Instant On technology is very popular. I'm thinking about restaurants and so on. They also need connectivity. Never forget security as well, because of course more and more on the devices connected. Also think about security, and you will see as well that in the upcoming announcements, because of course it doesn't stop here. I have seen already some things that are coming in Instant On as well, is that indeed more security, more reporting, more gateways that will be added to your environment, so that you have full control on that network, even on that small or medium network for those smaller customers or those remote offices, because we see more and more remote offices. Even, hey, I am here behind my PC for almost 2 years now. So my home is also a home office, which is what HPE called the edge. Of course, I want security as well. It started with one, I think today now with my the back of the garden. I have Wi-Fi everywhere, everywhere, inside house, outside house. My kids, they expect that they have perfect Wi-Fi. So yes, it's possible with those 5 or 6 antennas that I have today already. Yep, outdoor antennas, they are available. I'm going to give you a glimpse in a minute. Growth of applications, growth of number of users. So this is where we see that huge potential. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about that is Wi-Fi 6. So it's not only about 3G, 4G, 5G, also in Wi-Fi. There are new versions, more bandwidth, more performance, lower latencies. With Wi-Fi 6, well, you will see that there was already a first antenna that was announced last year, the AP22. Well, I can tell you now that the AP25 is coming, which is the second access point available supporting Wi-Fi 6, also in instant on. Okay. Yes, these are the use cases just to give you an idea. And this is where HPE with Aruba Instant On wants to help you. So it's an end-to-end solution. So that's really cool about Instant On, that it's easy to install, easy to configure, easy to maintain. It's just one web-based portal. It's one application on your smartphone. Now, if you want to have a demo, I advise you to go to techdataevents.be. The link is at the last slide of this presentation as well. So if you want to have a demo, a few months ago, and the recording is available there, is indeed that you have the recording there with an extended demo of the wired and the wireless solution of Instant On, with even I showcased the stacking, because now we have switches that support stacking as well. So with a live demo, just to show you how easy that is. Now, by the way, I see a message in Q&A about Wi-Fi 6E. Well, indeed, there is Wi-Fi 6E, and of course, Wi-Fi 7 is coming, just like 6G will be coming as well. So indeed, there is Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E. Bear with me, you will see it is covered in the slide deck as well, more later on. But yes, don't worry, it's all in this portfolio. So what do we see here? And I have more details in the presentation about the wired switches. So we have now a new series of the 1800 series, 1830. We have the 1930, which was the first model that was available. And then, yeah, like I told you in the previous Aruba update session, I told already more about the 1960 switches that support stacking, which is then where you can create really that leaf spine environment for the a little bit larger environments, and that that medium market of the SMB market. So the portfolio there is extended, and also you will see also now with the access points that also there we have multiple access points available for inside and outside. But all that is managed, and this is integrated when you buy these devices, so that cloud-based management through the application and on the web is integrated. You will see later on with the how should I say, the real enterprise Aruba portfolio, that you have a choice as well with on-premises management and cloud-based management, which is called Aruba Central. But for that, you need additional licenses. While with Instant On, you buy the antenna, you buy the switch, and everything, all-inclusive licensing, everything is in there. And to set it up, it's just a matter of a few minutes. There are plenty of videos available that we created for you already in the past. So there you go, new hardware, also new software. I will give you more details in the presentation. Yes. So first of all, let's get started with the wireless portfolio. So like I said, we had the 10 series of switches, and then since last year, we have the AP22, which is today a very popular model, but it was a 2x2 antenna. That was the first one. And then we got those questions, yeah, but that AP15, which is a 4x4, very popular, very powerful antenna, but that one is Wi-Fi 5, and then AP22 was the first one, 2x2 Wi-Fi 6 certified. Well, now we got the announcement from the AP25 that will be available. Normally, we're not looking at the challenges with stock constraints. But besides that, so the Hpe is on its way, supporting that standard 802.11ax, which has that Wi-Fi 6 certification. And so that's the first one with a 4x4 antenna at that moment. So that means more bandwidth and more users that will be able to connect. So we have grown the indoor antennas. We still have the Hpe which is still a wave 2 antenna at that moment for outdoor, and there's also a hospitality model available for desk mount access points. For instance, why is this one interesting? Because here at the bottom there are some wired connections as well. So when you put this one on the desk, you still are able to connect maybe an IP phone or a fixed PC or something like that. So you have 4 connections at the bottom there as well. Running the same software, the same management platform for all these wireless experiences. So a little bit more details about this one then. Technically, it's based on the, if I remember well, the Aruba 515 antenna technology that is inside. So it's a 4x4, so 4 spatial streams that are in there. And yes, you have a cloud-based management then through the application and the web portal. By default, initially it was 1 year, but now I can tell you that the instant on portfolio, the wireless access points have all 2-year warranty included as well. It comes with a default flush mount, but there are some other flush mounts depending on how you want to fix it on the wall or on the roof. So there are some optional mounts available as well. Now watch out, because it's a 4x4, it supports up to a 2.5 gigabit uplink port. Watch out with that. So you need also a switch that supports 2.5 gigabit as well, if you want to use the complete bandwidth in ideal environments for that environment. And so, by the way, to answer that question, you see the proof here, and I have some other slides coming as well. So indeed, it's that standard 802.11ax is indeed Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E. But watch out with that. Also, the client needs to support those standards as well. So if you have customers still with iPhone 8s or older and so on, so you got to have a recent device, a recent laptop as well, mobile device that support these standards as well, to be able to support the maximum bandwidth and the best performance, of course. Yes, there's still 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz today. Now, I told you about use cases. Normally, we have seen in the previous presentations as well, I have shown about indeed restaurants, doctor offices, advocate offices, and so on, where we have 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 people working there. Now, in some use cases, we need indeed more bandwidth. For instance, gaming, that will be maybe even more for your kids, but also hospitality and those professional offices where you said, that Aruba antenna with Aruba Central is maybe a little bit too expensive. Well, now you can go also to those professional offices, those small companies, and put maybe Aruba Instant on there as well, with definitely the Hpe 25 to give you that lowest latency, but also high bandwidth, including, I'm thinking about video collaboration and so on. These days, it is still happening. I don't think that it's going away. Well, there you go. I am already for 2 years broadcasting from my home through Aruba Instant On, and it works great. So I'm giving you a little bit more of the technical differences as well, because I see also a lot of technical people attending here. So for those, so you can see all the differences. By the way, I'm going to show you in soon as well where you can find more information, because that's one of the things that I always get. Yeah, where do you get this information, or where can I find it? Well, it's on the Aruba Pedia for partners. I'm going to share the link later on in the presentation as well. And of course on Seismic, because it's on those two portals. Seismic is HPE overall, and then AFP, Aruba Pedia for partners, is on the Aruba Networks partner portal. But there you can find all the sales, but also the technical collateral on there. Okay, so I'm going to show that, and the link is at the end of this presentation, right? So bear with me. So there you can see the data rate, the number of clients that are supported officially. So as you can see here with the AP25, we will, or Aruba will support more than 100 of users on that antenna. Yeah. Now, if we're going to take a look at the wired portfolio, of course, there as well, we need more bandwidth, more performance as well to support all these use cases. Well, now if we take a look, Instant On is positioned in the SMB market, where in the past, and it is still there, Office Connect, but you will see more and more that Office Connect will go away. Okay, we still have those entry-level cheap switches in here. These are unmanaged switches, but what is happening now is that we had the Office Connect 1820, 1830, and the 1950. Well, that 1950 is being replaced with that 1960. Okay, so that was announced, and I have an extended presentation on that. It was the past of last year. I think it was October, November timeframe. So the recording is there, the presentation is there. If you didn't attend that presentation, well, just send me an email or call me, and I will deliver the link to that recording and to that presentation, of course. But know that that 1950 is replaced with the 1960. I'm going to give you a little bit more details about 1960, because I have a few exciting new use cases for you as well. But first, I want to focus on the 1830, which is now also Office Connect rebranded in Instant On. And so watch out. So everything is now managed locally, because with the switches you have local management, but you have also, of course, in that application, that cloud-based management as well. So what's new now? The 1830. Okay, so a little bit cheaper than the 1930, so it's more layer 2, while with the 1900 series, you have more flexibility, more possibilities, VLAN management on layer 3, and so on. But it is a managed switch, okay, but at a definitely a lower price. And so you will see as well that there are models with, so it supports, of course, PoE, so power over Ethernet, with all those connected devices and cameras and the APs themselves as well. So there are models with 8, 24, and 48 ports available, 1 gigabit. And now the 1830, you will see that there are 2 or 4, depending of the model. There are 2 or 4 uplink ports. Now the difference is with the 1830 is that the uplink port is also 1 gigabit, while with the 1930 you will see that there are uplink ports with 10 gigabit. So depending of how many bandwidth that you need, how many connected users that you need to uplink to your servers. So you will see in a minute that with the 1930, for instance, there are 10 gig uplink ports, while with the 1830 it is all 1 gig managed. There are models with PoE. There are also models without PoE. Also important there, there are some models, for instance, the 8 port model, even with power over Ethernet, is a fanless model. Huh? So that's the model that I have here. Now I have the 1930 here, but it's power over Ethernet, but it's completely silent. When you go to the 24 and the 48 port models at that moment, there's a little fan in there. I don't say that it's noisy. It is silent, but you hear a little bit of a fan in there because of the power envelope to be supporting that number of access points or connected PoE devices on there. So here you get a glimpse, you get an idea of what is available in the 1830. So like I said, how many ports that are available with PoE. You see here what's the power envelope in there. So this model supports up to 30 watts per port. Now, if you need PoE plus, you need more than 30 watts. Well, then you have to go to higher end devices. You will see in the next slides that indeed there we have even more power available. But like I said, this is an entry-level switch in there. I see a question about delivery time. Well, we hope as soon as possible. In the past, we had one call a month with HPE. Now we have multiple calls per week with HPE to see what is coming and what will be available. Now, with the new models, we heard that they will be delivered as soon as possible, but it will stay a matter of weeks, or for some models, even months, with the stock, with the part constraints that are there. But if you're interested, let us know, and as soon as they will come in, it's first in, first out. So also for the Aruba 500 access points, it took quite some time, but now they are coming in quite regularly. So if you have specific needs, I have the phone number and the email address at the end of the presentation. So call me, or even better, Steven, Christophe and Steven, because they are the SKU experts. They know what are coming in, what's going out, and what will be a little bit they know of what will be available, because they are in those calls with HPE. But yes, we know it's a challenging time today, but definitely HPE is not presenting these products if they're not able to deliver. But I know some models are rather fast coming in, and other models, yeah, there are some switches where we have to wait 6 months just because of a few components that are in there that are available a little bit easier, or not that easy. So definitely stay in contact with us to know about availability. I see another question coming in. Are Office Connect and Instant On devices manageable in Aruba Central? Very good question. The answer is no. Okay, so Aruba Instant On has its own cloud-based management portal. So it's portal.arubainstanton.com, where you go in there. If you want to have a demo, just call me and I'll do it live for you, because I have multiple networks that I can show to you, wired and wireless. But this is completely separate from Aruba Central. Okay, so Aruba Central is a separate license but bear with me, I have the other Aruba traditional regular portfolio is behind this presentation. Office Connect is completely something else, locally managed in there, and that one will be retransitioned to Aruba Instant On. So Instant On is the entry level SMB market, and then what is coming, Aruba regular with Aruba Central, that's then the enterprise environment. And we see indeed Instant On going more and more to those smaller enterprises now. But like I said, we have quite a lot of small enterprises here in Belgium, and this is why I want to showcase this definitely as well, because we see most of the growth is indeed in here. So how are we going to manage it? Like I said, for those, but watch out, that cloud-based management with instant on, you don't have to pay for it. It's built in. It is no additional cost. Yeah, it's very easy. Now, for those who don't like too much cloud-based management, well, now know that just like with Office Connect, you have, and it is rather similar to the Aruba switches. It remains Aruba, of course. Know that there's also a local web GUI available as well for those switches, the 1830, the 1930, and the 1960. So there you have control. You can choose yourself how you want to manage your environment. I can tell you as well that the local web GUI has a little bit more features. So if you're really a techie that wants to tweak everything with all the knobs and the thumbs that you want to do, well, then you will see that with the local web GUI, you have a little bit more control, but most of the popular configurations can be done with cloud-based management. And this is cool for me because now I have my brother and my uncle and my best friend. I have put there also Aruba Instant On, and now I know perfectly I can control their environments from my smartphone. If they want to change a password, I can do it from my smartphone from anywhere. So best of both worlds you can find in there as well. Now, for the techies as well, hold on, I see there indeed a question as well, or a remark. The local web GUI is only available when you disable cloud. APs are cloud only. Well, I wanted to tell you this. Yes, you are right. Thank you for letting me know. But indeed, it is one. Hold on, I'll go back to this slide. It's one or the other. And watch out, this is for the wired switches. The access points are a cloud only, so be aware of that. So access points is indeed cloud only. It's for this slide belongs indeed to the switches. So it's with the switches, it's one or the other. Okay, so it's not a combination of both. Now in the future, maybe this might change, maybe, but today it is indeed like that. What about the integration into cloud-based web portal after a local configuration, no configuration losses? Yes, it is. So yes, you can switch when you go to your switch, to your wired switch. At that moment, there is an option. I can go now as well to my smartphone, connect to my wired switch. I say go to local web GUI, but then I lose my connectivity because that switch will restart. And then you have to configure it yourself. So it is, you have to reconfigure it. For instance, if you created VLANs as one now, definitely on the 1830, there are no VLANs since it's a layer 2 switch. But nevertheless, no, you have to recreate the configuration on that switch at that moment. Yes. Hold on. Because you still, yeah, if you start using cloud and revert to local GUI, well, it keeps the configuration. It depends which configuration, which parameters that are in there, but it restarts. Yeah, and I have to think, yeah, which configuration did you make? Because most of the things that you configure are on the access points anyway. So I know that some things you have to recreate. I have to check about passwords. I'm not sure about passwords. That's a good question. I'm going to write it down. So I'm going to stay in contact with you. I will let you know. So normally the configuration is kept, but I'm thinking, for instance, about the stacking. In a minute, we're going to talk about the 1960. I need to validate if the stacking configuration is kept. I need to validate it myself. That's a very good question. So I'm going to write it down and I'll stay in contact with you. I need to check it myself about yeah, which parameters are kept, yes or no. But that's a good thing. I have a demo environment here, and so I can try it for myself. Good. Comparisons. So for those who have experience with the Office Connect 1820, so now you can see, yeah, a lot of similarities and differences in there. So like I said, we have 8 ports, 24 and 48 ports also on the PoE. So what is there? Now we have class 4 PoE support, higher power envelope, so a higher power budget on that 24th power model, and we have that cloud management, while with the 1820 there was only local management in there. One important thing that I want to highlight as well is some people, I'm not sure about you, but some people are also using CLI. Know that today with Instant On, there is no CLI support. Sometimes I got some people that were asking me, hey, what about CLI support? I escalated this already to the product manager. So we can bring you in contact as well with the product manager from Aruba here in Belgium. But one of the things was indeed that today there is no CLI support, and apparently some people were using CLI support on those entry-level switches as well. Most of the time it's on the high-end environments, but nevertheless, I just want to tell you as well, if you're a techie and you want to have that CLI support, know that today with Instant On it is not available. Now quickly one thing, because like I said, I did a demo. I gave you all the details in the previous presentation already, in the previous Aruba update at the end of last year, somewhere about the 1960. So with the 1960, these are aggregator, more aggregator switches where you're going to combine all those leaf edge switches, your client switches, then where your clients or your APs are connected to. But this is quite interesting because these are higher performance models, 1960 switches. What is important there? For those who need a lot of PoE, like I told you, with the 1830 class 4, well, now in the 1960s we have class 6 PoE support, which is more power that we can deliver. Is it 60 or 65? I have to check the quick specs, but it's more than the 30 watts that are available in the 1830. So class 6 PoE support, and also for stacking. So these switches can be used as well as server switches. So for those customers who want high availability, and no, because I know that question was asked in the last presentation, and I still did not get a confirmation about the software updating. They told me yes, but I wasn't able to test it myself already. To do the testing with the stacking with the two switches, that the server connections with MPIO, of course, then with two uplinks, that all connections stay online when we do that stacking update, because there wasn't an update yet, as far as I know, on the stacking software themselves. But nevertheless, the question stays open, and as soon as I got an answer and I was able to test it myself, then I will let you know, of course. But besides that, why is it important? Why did I put it in here as well? Did I put a slide in here as well? Yes, because with the 1960 now, we got an accreditation to use this switch as a storage switch as well. Okay, so know that for those SME, small and medium business environments, that who are installing, for instance, an MSA, well, know that in SPOC, the reference database for storage devices in the storage world, so know that the 1960 can be used as a storage switch for your MSA environments using iSCSI. Okay, so you will see as well there are some flex offers available where you can buy for a really interesting price an MSA. Well, now in flex offers you will see that there are some solutions, pre-configured solutions available, an MSA with that Instant On 1960. Now, of course, probably at that moment, you're not going to use the cloud-based management, just use the local-based management for your storage switch, but know that they are certified for that. There's a question about, do we need a license for this storage capability? Why would you need a license, knowing that with Instant On there is it's an all-inclusive licensing. There is no dedicated or specific license for storage. The most important thing is that this switch, the 1960, is powerful enough so that there are enough buffer credits available for the switch to support traditional iSCSI traffic. But no, there is no license whatsoever if you want to put iSCSI on this switch. Which switch is then interesting, because also here you see that there are models with 24 and 48 ports, but the switch here at the top, for instance, it's a 10 gigabit only switch. So that's an aggregator switch. So that's a powerful switch, which and with SFP plus and RJ45 connectivity. So you can choose yourself, because you know in MSA that there are controllers with SFP and with RJ45, but then you can use those DAC cables for 10 gigabit. So know that there are switches here available with those 4 ports so that you can connect your MSA on there. Like I said, it is certified for MSA iSCSI traffic. And for that one, it's a really interesting switch. Like I said, you can stack it low latency, high performance, so high bandwidth. So very interesting. It is available, or it is rather fast available as well. Now, yeah, I confirm, yeah, to stack or not to stack when using iSCSI. That's the question. That is a very good question, and you can choose that for yourself. Now, honestly, you can. It's a storage network. And if you take a look at the other type of connectivity in storage, fiber channel, there we have 2 separate networks, physically separated networks. Now, you can do that with iSCSI as well. So if your MPIO in your server is nicely configured, you have 2 separate networks at that moment. Nope, you don't need stacking. Depending of how you make your cabling, but that's another discussion. But depending if you make your physical cabling high available, then you should be good to go. Now, if you want to do the stacking as well, there are some advantages, but then the question remains, those advantages, is it worth it? Yes or no? But yeah, that question remains. I agree, because of course you're putting more pressure on the knowledge of the network experts. Yeah, and this is why those fiber channel guys, they say, we are not network experts. We're going to keep 2 separate networks, and then we're always okay when we're doing upgrades and so on and so on. Yep, I know. This is the fun of when you're converging storage and networking together. Hey, one thing to remember, 1960, really cool, very good and interesting switch for your MSA environments as well. One quick thing about transceivers, because I told you in those switches, you see here at the right, that those switches as well, they have ports for SFP, for transceiver connectivity. So know that also there are some transceivers available as well. We have also DAC cables, so the direct attached copper cables. Don't focus too much on these reference pricing in dollars and so on. Just call us or go take a look in InTouch, but know that also it's always the switch. We get those questions. Yeah, which DAC cables do I have to use? It's always the switch that defines the DAC cable. Also with the traditional Aruba switches and so on, it's not the server that you are connecting to. It is the switch that defines which DAC cables and which transceivers that you will be using. So also know that for Aruba Instant On, those transceivers are available. Okay, and there you go. This is also new. So like I said, that storage now, that MSA indeed is now supported to connect definitely on the 1960 series, of course. Okay, want to have more details? I'm going to show you the site, the website where you can find it, and otherwise call my friends at the Tech Data HPE team, Steven, Christophe, and Wim. They can help you as well with this. A last thing about Instant On is the software that is running on it, because you will see as well that there are regularly software updates coming as well, which give you a better experience on security, on performance, on the management experience itself, because I see more and more things coming as well. And I heard some rumors as well. One of the things is about reporting. Well, I heard some things about indeed gateways, which means that you can configure now, for instance, for the techies, DHCP, you have to provide DHCP. Well, there are plenty of cool things coming so that you have more possibilities, just like with the traditional Aruba's environment. So stay us following. Now I can tell you 2.2, I'm going to give you just a glimpse. It's all in there. By the way, the update, do you have to do it yourself? Well, now you can do it yourself, or you can schedule it. That, for instance, Sunday evening at 10 p.m. When probably that home office is not working. So all those wired and wireless networks get automatically updated Sunday evening at 10 p.m. or whatever, when you have a moment, when you have a time slot. Of course, you can also say, I want to do it manually, but then it's just a push of the button. You don't have to download software and then upload it and so on and so on. Everything is taken care of. Definitely when you're doing that cloud-based management. Of course, if you're doing local management on the switches, at that moment, yeah, you have to do it manually on the switch. But hey, just quickly, 2.2 was last year in the summer. 2.3 was more at the end of last year. But as you can see, there are a lot of things here. On security, on management, spanning tree stuff, performance optimizations, some troubleshooting tools that were added as well to see if the network is okay, if you can ping, and so on. 2.4 was released early this year. New products. No, this was the end of last year with the 1960. When was it? November timeframe, something like that. Again, more configuration options in there. And so now I can tell you that there is 2.5 software release today available. So I'm just double checking on my switches in here, but indeed it is 2.5 that is running on my APs and on my switches. And so now it's where you can see support for new hardware, but also on usability and stuff. So new views on the topologies. So it's getting better and better. If you want to have that demo, just call me or send me an email or take a look at the recording from November last year, where I was showing then 2.4 in the presentation with the stacking of the 1960. Okay, so looking at my time, yes, perfect on timing. So I have half of my time for SMB environment instant on. Now, like I said, for the larger environments, for those customers who want to have full control, who want to say, hey, I don't want to be limited with a certain number of access points and switches in my environment. I want to go all the way with full integration of hardware and software. Well, at that moment, we have the Aruba traditional regular environment, again, wired and wireless. Now, if we're going to take a look at the portfolio there, because you know that also there is a migration, just like with Office Connect, Aruba still has the 25 and the 2900 and the 3500 and the 5400 chassis. Well, it's that series of switches that are now being migrated or moved into what HPE Aruba calls the CX series of switches. Okay, same hardware, or at least the ASIC that is giving you the switch functionality. So it's the same ASIC that is in there. Of course, the next generation, a next evolution of ASICs in there, but then with the Aruba CX operating system software portfolio. Okay, and so what I can tell you is that the last year that complete Aruba switches, 2000, 3000, 5000, 6000, 8000, and so on, is now being migrated. And so I can show you finally the complete picture. In the previous presentation, I had to tell you, yeah, guys, there is something coming in here. Well, now it is there. So it all starts with the Aruba CX6000, which is finally the 2500 series. We have the 6100 available, 6200, which is the 2900 series, 6300, which is then positioning the 3500 portfolio, and then we have the 8000 series, and now there's a new software-defined top model, the CX10000 with Pensando technology in there. Honestly, I think this is very specific for the really large enterprises, definitely not for the mainstream market that we are focusing on. And also recently know that for the edge, for IoT and also industrial IoT, know that with Aruba CX4000, there are also ruggedized switch models available as well. Ruggedized for those environments where it is a little bit hotter or colder, or with a little bit more dust and so on. So also know there that Aruba HPE can help you with the access layer, the aggregation, and then the core layer. Like I said, this is really for enterprise larger environments. And it's here where at this moment it's in this portfolio, because that was that one question about that Aruba Central. Well, with these switches, we have local management, which is built in, but then there is indeed an additional license, but it's an optional license. So if you want to have cloud management, that's that optional Aruba Central license to manage these devices. But so that management central and then instant on is completely separate. The local management, the local experience from that local switch, it's a little bit similar, but here you will see as well that it will go much further as well. Now, this is for the techies, maybe also for pre-sales and maybe salespeople who are interested in technical stuff. But this is, I thought it's a good and easy comparison. There are much more tables available to compare those models, but here you will see instantly of what is available. So 12, 24, 48 ports, 1 gig only. So the CX6000, it's very simple. CX6000, 1 gig only, cheap but good, with also PoE. If the customer says yes, but 1 gig is ideal for my access layer for my devices, but I want to have uplinks with 10 gigabit, well, at that moment we have the 6100 series, which is then at that moment it will give you more uplink bandwidth depending of how many devices that you have connected. Definitely for those 48 port switches, I think it is quite okay there. And definitely if you want to use the Wi-Fi 5 but also Wi-Fi 6 bandwidths of these days, also there. And then, of course, if you need more, for instance, if you need stacking, then we have that 6200 model, which is then the 2930F that we're going to take a look at finally, previous generation, because, whoops, I'm sorry there, you can see that with VSF, this is the software defined stacking that we're going to use there. So you're going to use one of those 10 gig ports to do stacking, and here today you can stack multiple switches of the 6200 series in there, and you will see at that moment other software defined features like dynamic segmentation, network analytics, and so on. So that switch becomes more powerful. There's more intelligence in those switches. Now, about that dynamic segmentation and analytics with ESP, software, I advise you to take a look at the recording, also a session that I did with together with Ken van Kampenhout from HPE Aruba here in Belgium. He explained more what is dynamic segmentation and all the features of ESP. Also, that recording is still available on techdataevents.be. And also that presentation, for those who weren't there, just send me an email and I can deliver you more details about that. And then goes up 6,300, 6,400. And again, you can see now the 6,300 supports now the 25 and the 50 gig, while the 6,400 already goes to 100 gig. That's definitely then an aggregator switch and even a core switch. Okay. Yeah, Aruba still positions it as an access switch as well. If you have a customer that needs servers with 100 gigabit, give me a call. I'll give you a good price. Yeah, this is very specific already. Most of the time, these are the core and the aggregation switches as well. And as you can see, more power, because at that moment you will see that for specific devices who need more than 30 watts with PoE plus and so on, you need more power, heavier power supplies, more cooling as well. So those switches can support all those needs. And then you will see that we have also then the 8,000 series, but these are more than definitely the data center switches. But that's cool about Aruba, is that from the smallest environment up to the highest really big data center switches, with this portfolio, you can cover all your customer needs. Now, I see some questions coming in now. Don't worry, at the end I will try to answer all of them, and otherwise I will capture them and we'll stay in touch anyway after this session, because always on PoE, is it the 62 or the 6300? I have to validate it myself in the quick specs. I am not sure, because I have seen in the last tech talk, there were some changes as well of these features being added, always on PoE. When you're updating a switch, that you don't lose the power to that, let's say, that camera, that IP camera that is connecting on that port. I need to validate it myself, because there are a lot of things happening, also quick PoE and so on. I have to double check that one, so we'll stay in touch on that, Yush, because that's quick specs to me, and I have to check with the latest presentations. There are too many things changing over there. Now, if we take a look then, yep, this was the comparison of the wired environment. If we take a look at the wireless environment from Aruba, also there, the sky is the limit, and new models that are being released these days. I just heard a rumor that also with the outdoor antennas, that there's a 580 series that is coming as well. Now, before you're going to ask me the question, what about availability? Well, we had a lot of challenges with availability of a little bit of everything, but now the 515, for instance, which is very popular, and the 535, well, normally they are rather regularly coming in now, and we are delivering them. But watch out, back again, it's 5.0, it's first in, first out. So if you order them on time, well, at that moment they should be available rather soon. Now, also there you will see a difference, because we had the 300 series. They are still there. They're almost at the end of their period, because the 300 series is or was Wi-Fi 5. Again, ruggedized, wall mount, indoor, outdoor. They are all available, but today we see the most interest in, and we are focusing as well the most on these models, so that we have them on stock, is indeed the 500 series, because these are indeed Wi-Fi 6 certified again. Okay, and also for those ones, don't worry, there are plenty of tables with comparisons of 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, how many clients that are supported. a complete portfolio, the hospitality devices, the ruggedized models, the outdoor access points, of course, the indoor ones as well, the indoors with internal antennas. You have also the indoors with external antennas available as well. So here is a quick comparison, the models 2x2, the 3x3s, the 4x4s. And so now you see here as well, indeed, that this is typical like with Instant On. We had that AP22, which is like the 500 series. And now we have the 4x4 model, the AP25, which is comparable to the 515, the 510 series, which is also needing at that moment that 2.5 gigabit, that smart rate connectivity. So 2.5 gigabit, for those maybe who will be asking, you can run it on a 1 gig cable, but of course you need a switch that supports smart rate as well. Okay, and for that, again, take a look in the quick specs for those switches. There are some switches that don't support it, the cheaper ones, and there are some switches that support smart rate to have that 2.5 gigabit, to have the full bandwidth available for those 4x4 antennas. And then of course we have the 530 series with 5 gig, 2 ports in there, so that's for even more bandwidth, high performance. And then the highest end today is indeed the 550 with a tri-mode radio in there. Again, these are quick specs. This is more about the awareness, the updates in the portfolio. And then again, as you can see, where do we going to use them? Yes. Definitely now the 300s are going away, had that hospitality and that retail. Well, this is where I see now Instant On coming with the AP22 and definitely the AP25. Basic performance density, lowest cost. So we see Instant On in here. And from those higher end environments, the more enterprise and industry environments, schools with hundreds, maybe even thousands of students. Well, at that moment, definitely we will go to this environment, to this platform, of course. Okay. Again, Wi-Fi 6 and 6E certified. For those who were asking me, don't focus too much on the pricing, because this is just the regular information, the slides that we got from Hpe Aruba Pedia. So definitely go check to your prices on InTouch. But again, just to make you that comparison, because we often get these questions. Hey, do you have comparison? I want to show this to my customer, why I prefer a 530 compared to a 510, but then they want to know the difference between the pricing. Well, maybe this might help you, of course. Okay. Yep, there you go. And more comparison tables again, for your reference with the 300 series, also high-end, high-density environments, and also then, but like I said, this is really entry level, and I see this really moving towards the Aruba Instant On. Also a comparison of those desk mount, the RAP remote access point models, which can be interesting as well for people who are traveling around, because then they take this access point with them. They just have to plug it in the internet connection from their hotel or at remote office. And at that moment, he will configure, set up a secure connection with the controller running on premises to give you a more secure environment. And then some pictures about the outdoor portfolio as well. And as you can see, everything is now being migrated to that Wi-Fi 6 standard, of course. Know that there are still there, depending of their availability, but also Aruba is focusing, of course, on the Wi-Fi 6 environment. And like I said, this is just what I heard this morning, that indeed that there's a new model on its way, even more at the 580 series. I don't have technical details yet, so keep on following us. And like I said, I'm going to show you in a minute where you can find all that additional information. I just put it in here for those who are interested, that you don't have to dive into, for instance, product bulletin or the online quick specs. And also here again, depending of the situation, we have some customers who have indeed locations with a lot of metal, a lot of concrete in their buildings and so on, and challenging environments for wireless. Well, at that moment, those external antennas and so on might be helpful as well. Now, the last thing that I want to cover is about another announcement that was made about storage networking, because I told you for those MSAs, we have now very interesting that instant on 1960 switch, but beyond that we keep on getting those questions. Yeah, what about, and this was also one of my, I don't want to call it a complaint, but one of the questions that I keep on asking to the Aruba people: when are you coming to the storage environment? Because they said, yeah, we have fantastic switches, but ones that we're talking with Nimble and Tripar and now Alletra, low latency NVMe storage, but we need those switches. And the answer was, yeah, but we have fantastic data center core aggregator switches, but not optimized for storage fabrics. Well, I was surprised that indeed, beginning of this year, there was this announcement: Aruba switching for storage fabrics. Okay, so why is that, or what is it? Well, it is indeed HPE and Aruba that said, yeah, we see also a growth of spending in data center networking. And then we're talking even beyond 100. There is already 200 and 400 gig Ethernet, low latency available, or at least there are requirements, there are needs for that. Now, honestly, I don't think that this is today the market here that we see in Belgium, but it's the same thing that I was telling, when was it, 4 or 5 years ago, when I said, guys, Tripar, all flash arrays, and everybody said, Bart, come on, nobody's gonna pay an all flash array with SSD only. Well, I can tell you today, most of the Nimbles that are going out today are all flash arrays. Yeah, it's a matter of time. And today it's even the next step with NVMe. Now, if you want to know more about that, well, I advise you to listen to my presentation this Thursday when we have a server and storage update session. So you will see there as well, there's a lot of things happening on the server and the storage environment, but the network needs to follow, of course. With NVMe drives, you can put it on fiber channel, but you can also put it on an Ethernet network. But for that, you need high bandwidth, low latency. So I hope that your customer understands that for your data center networking, that even 10 gig today, I can tell you 25 gig networks are today, to me, the most popular, the most sold storage networks today. Why? Because 25 gig, it's almost the same price as a 10 gig network. Okay, if we take a look at the DAC cables and the network cards in a server, and in, for instance, then a Nimble array, well, at that moment you will see that the price, it's just a few euros difference. It's not that it's 100 euros of difference. So I prefer to go to that 25 gig environment. And this is where we see that since the 2930, I was talking about the 2930 before, had the 6200 CX series now, but they have a certain price. There's a lot of software defined intelligence in there that we don't need in the storage network. We just need bandwidth, we need just low latency, and that's it. We don't need cloud-based management and so on for those switches. With a Nimble and a Tripar and an Alletra and a Primera array, well, at that moment, the 2930 was too limited. but the 3500 or beyond, or the 3800 wasn't sufficient for storage networking. And this is why the last years we see the M series. It's a Mellanox series switch that is rebranded as the SN2010 or the SN2000 series of switches that we sell quite a lot these days with those nimble Alletra medium storage arrays. Well, now Aruba, because this is rebranded, so that SN2010, very popular switch. I'm going to show you a picture in a minute. Well, now with Aruba, there are some companies, I know a few partners who say, we are standardized on Aruba. I don't like that. It's not that it's difficult, but I don't want to learn about that SN2010 switch and so on. I am standardized on Aruba, so I need a storage switch. Well, I can tell you that it's there now. Okay, so there are some challenges. I told you about the servers. They need more, definitely with high performance computing, with AI, with machine learning these days. More data, more users on my storage. Yep, NVMe is there. Here we have high density servers, and it's always the network that can become that bottleneck. It can be bandwidth, but it can be also the latency, of course. Yeah, and so this is where finally there was that. Yeah, are you ready? This is what is coming now. HPE storage networking with the 8325 switch. Okay, so it is NVMe ready. It is tested, it is certified by HPE, so you can find these switches now in SPOC as well. And so now you can choose which experience that you want to give to your customer. But now, again, you can give wireless and wired towards your clients, but now you can also deliver the complete Aruba experience towards your servers and your storage as well. So that's the whole idea, to give you that one experience in there. Because if you're going to take a look at today, when you buy servers and storage, we can deliver you B series fiber channel Brocade. There's also Cisco MDS that is available. There is the M series Ethernet switches Mellanox, but this is now where Aruba comes in with Ethernet. So it's a complete tested and certified platform with switches, with transceivers, with cables, DAC cables, and AOC, active optical cables for longer length. So everything is available, and again, tested by HPE. So the first one that is announced, that is available, is then it's also CX series. So it's the next generation of Aruba software AOS that is running on there. So the first one is then that 8325. So it's the Aruba management experience. Towards the support, it's exactly the same. And also now on the hardware side, it's using that common network operating system and operational model. And yes, if you're going to do stacking, yes or no, well, everything is possible today. But again, now with enough cache, buffers, low latency for the storage traffic of your needs. But all the tools, like I said, the experience with NetEdit or with Central, if you would like that, the analytics, the upgrades, the live upgrades. So you can do stacking through VSX. And so that's always two switches. One takes over the other one. So you can do those live upgrades. So this is all possible. And so there is what are the models that are available today, because there will be also more coming in the future, because now you're going to tell me, whoa, 32 and 48. Yes, this is not for the smaller environments. But for the medium environments, if you want to connect your Nimble or your Alletra array with a few servers on there, well, you can use these ones as your data center core switches then. But as you can see, it's 40/100 gig or 10/25. So this one you can compare with that SN2000, for instance, because it's 10/25, and then there are 8 ports, 40 or 100 gig to your back end, then to your core switches as well. But as you can see, high performance, we're talking about terabits per second of switching capabilities. Yeah. And where do we see these switches? Definitely not with customers with 2 and 3 SimpliVity nodes, or maybe Nutanix or those hyper-converged environments and so on. But ones that we go to 5, 6, 7, 8, or the bigger Nimble or Alletra environments, there we will see that indeed these switches will become popular. So I don't want to say that they are cheap, but if we're going to compare the price per port, then definitely this is a very interesting switch. Of course, if your customers has 2, 3, 4 servers with one Nimble array, it depends of the environment, of course. So I don't want to say that now, yeah, the 2010, we're not going to use it anymore. Definitely, yes. By the way, I have some slides coming that indeed I'm going to make a comparison between the two. And I think that we have now a nice combination of those situations. By the way, I see a question from an anonymous attendee. Where can we download the presentation and the recording? You will get a mail later on this week from Tech Data Marketing. So yes, you will get a copy of this presentation, and the recording will be made available on techdataevents.be. Okay, and otherwise call me, send me an email. My email address is in the presentation as well. It's bart.junges@techdata.com. There's only one Bart Junges in the world, so you can find me on social media. Yeah. So thank you for your interest, by the way. So quick comparison, we're almost through, and then we're going to take a look at the Q&A. So here is indeed an example of what is available today. Like I said, Aruba, they promised that there will be more coming, but these are the first 2 models already where you have availability. Hey, it's Aruba, you will recognize it. So there is a lot of possibilities on power supplies, on fans that are available, but initially it's 32 and 48 ports. So the transceivers, the optical transceivers are available. We have copper DAC cables for the shorter distance cables, direct attached copper cables, and for the longer distance, today up to 15 meters, we have those active optical cables. And yes, you have also those splitter cables at that moment, depending of your needs. I'm thinking as well, one example, you want to uplink to a synergy frame. This is typically also when you have customers with synergy bladed environments who support up to 25 gigabit. Well, now what you can do is here, you have on one side 100 gigabit, at the other side, technically it is then 4 times 25 gigabit. You're going to create a LAG, a link aggregate group on your synergy in Virtual Connect, and then you can uplink your synergy frame with one cable to those data center core switches. So you need less cables as well. In the past, you needed 10 cables to get 100 gigabit. Well, now you can do it with one cable. So you have to take a look not only to the price of the switch, but also the price for all the cabling, the configuration, and the price per port that you will need on your synergy, for instance. And this is exactly the same for now your DL380, Gen 10 Plus servers, and so on. Less ports, more bandwidth, lower latency. Now, like I said, what are the typical use cases? For instance, the larger DHCI environments. If you have a customer with a Nimble with 2 servers, you will see that we will stay with the SN2010. But once that you have a customer with more than 2, 3, 4 servers, well, at that moment, definitely you will see these switches will come in, because at that moment we can have 25 gigabit to these devices and then 100 gigabit to my backend network for all my users. So yes, in DHCI you will find the SN2010, but you will find also the 8325 Aruba switch in there as well as a tested and certified solution. Yeah. What is DHCI? We will talk about that in our storage update session, of course. And then definitely, if we go further, if we're going to take a look at the next generation, the evolution of Nimble, which is now Alletra 6000 and then Alletra 9000, which is NVMe, all flash storage solutions. At that moment, you need that low latency, high bandwidth. Well, this is where these switches will come in, of course. And now what's the cool thing for you? Well, now it will be the management experience of your choice. If you want to do it the Aruba local management, you can do it. If you want to use NetEdit, you can do it. If you want to use Aruba Central for some kind of reason, yes, you can do it as well. Again, it's all about the experience and your knowledge about your wireless, your wired, and then your data center core environment. Instead of having to learn, I have too many customers who have brand A for wireless, brand B for wired, and brand C for their storage and their data center networking. Okay, that's good. It works, but it's 3 management tools, 3 times support, 3 times licenses, 3 times a little bit of everything. Now here with the Aruba messaging, you can make your life easier in there. Again, if it's DHCI or Nimble or Alletra, now with SimpliVity, it's exactly the same, because also in SimpliVity, we also support 25 gigabit already quite some time. Again, with 2 nodes, if you want to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nodes and you need that high performance storage between all those SimpliVity or Nutanix nodes or even vSAN hyperconverged solutions, well, at that moment, this is where you're going to have that interesting offering in here. And here are some more details. I have put also the technical details for those who are interested in here. We're talking about, because we have SFP, that's a standard 1 gig. We have SFP plus, which is 10 gigabit. And now then we have QSFP plus, which is then quad. That's for 40 gigabit. And know that there is also a standard QSFP28. Well, SFP28 is there for the 25 gigabit. And then QSFP28 is 4 times 25 gigabit. So that's the DAC cables. I see another question there. I will answer that in a minute. But so QSFP28 is the standard that we need to follow if you want to go up to 100 gigabit at that moment. Okay, but know that all those cables are available, and instead of losing 4 ports of 10 gigabit, now you can combine it in one with that octopus, that splitter cable. Now you can use here only 1 port, and you can connect 4 times 10 gigabit on it. The same for 100 gigabit. I get often, regularly a question, yeah, 100 gigabit, you're insane, nobody needs that. Well, maybe it is coming. You will see in 1, 2, maybe 3 years, you will see that 100 gigabit will be common. Why common? Because with that 100 gigabit, you lose only 1 port, and now you will have 4 times 25 gigabit, so you can connect those devices on there. Good. And your customer is investing in those switches, not for 1 or 2 or 3 years, but for at least 5 years. Well, what's the messaging here? Well, your customer can invest now in this network even for 6, 7, 8 years. From now, he has a decent switch, and he has all the bandwidth that he needs for the servers that he buys today, but also in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Because believe me, that 25 gigabit is today a common standard. We sell them quite often today. Okay. More examples in here. So 10 gig is supported in here. 1 gig is not supported anymore in there. If you need 1 gig, hey, I just have shown you a lot of other switches that are available. And now finally, those questions about, yeah, how do they compare indeed, well, you will see that at 8325 with the 100 gig switches, well, those compare indeed with the M series switches, the SN2100 and the 2700. Okay. And then this one, definitely the SN2010 is very popular today for the smaller environments, for those who have 2, 3, 4, 5 servers and a nimble array, because that's an 18-port switch. Well, I have to say today, yes, I agree that the 48 ports, it's more expensive as a switch, but not price per port. So it all depends of the situation, of course. Now, of course, we, the HPE ambassadors, we gave the feedback, hey guys, this is fantastic for in the US, but we need also that 18-port switch in there. Now, I have no idea when it will be coming, next month or in a year or in 2 years, but at least we gave the feedback that we also need that switch. As long as it's not there, well, of course, we keep on selling that SN2010 switch as a really good and fairly priced storage switch, of course. And I see a lot of familiar names here who are already selling these switches. Okay. Now, to find information, because we're going to go to, I still have 7 minutes to answer all your Q&A questions. Last thing is, where can I find all that information? Well, the first one is, of course, Seismic. Okay, because that's from HPE, where you can find all your sales, pre-sales, technical information, competitive information on everything from HPE. I'm talking about servers, storage, basic networking, all the software on top of it. But know that for Aruba specific stuff, because I see there a question in the Q&A about, are DAC cables supported on the 6100? Well, there are 2 tools at that moment that you're going to take a look at. That is our product Bulletin. Okay, so let us take a look together. Okay, and if you're not sure, if you don't know, well, first of all, there's a website called Aruba Pedia. So I'm going to switch my screen here. And so the link is, by the way, on the presentation here. It's afp.arubanetworks.com. This is for partners. So you got to be an HPE partner, but I assume that you are an HPE partner. So with the same credentials from Seismic, for instance. So by the way, for those who don't know Seismic, it's hpe.seismic.com. When you go on there, you can find it's working with briefcases. There you go. I'm gonna quickly log on. And so for those who want to know things about anything on HPE, because this is mainly HPE, while Aruba Pedia is Aruba only. But for instance, Simplicity, whatever, something, just to call one. So there is a Simplicity briefcase, and here you can find a lot of sales, pre-sales, technical, customer presentations, FAQs, infographics, customer references, analyst reports, competitive information can be found in here. But I admit, if I'm going to take a look here for Aruba, so this is one of the questions that I get. Okay, there is some information on Aruba, but definitely there are some customer presentations from edge to cloud and so on, and Aruba Central overview. So it is in there, but not everything is there yet. And so this is why I want to highlight and Aruba Pedia for partners. So afp.arubanetworks.com. Same credentials, just log in there. And what you will find is here, if you're a salesperson, a lot of information in here. If you're more an SE, a technical person, well, a lot of information in here. I always get questions about training. Well, there is some training available, online training available in here under education services as well. Definitely for the salespeople, hey, I need information for SMB specifically, or I have a vertical solution. I have a customer on hospital. Well, let's go to vertical solutions. You go to healthcare and you will get all the information available there as well. Okay, so this is where I get it, this as well. So a copy of the presentation. There are hundreds of presentations. HPE is an expert in creating presentations. Also, Aruba is an expert in creating presentations. So if you go into products and solutions, you go into SMB, or we go into wireless. If you want to know more about wireless, well, here's all the information about access points, about instant on, about controllers, about the 802.11ax standard, which is Wi-Fi 6, about Aruba OS, which is the software that is running on all these switches. If you want to know more about campus switching, well, there you go. All the switches themselves, all the accessories. There are some videos available. There is marketing available now on data center networking. There you go. Here's more information about the data center switches. Outdoor SD branch, the management, the location services, networking, analytics. Hey, competitive, the vertical solutions, like I told you, you have a school as a customer, or you want to have healthcare or hospitality or retail. Well, there you go. You can find all the information on Aruba Pedia. And if you cannot find it even then, well, just call us. We're going to help you. Hey, going to show you the last slide with all our email addresses and our phone numbers. So feel free to come take a look in here on Aruba Pedia. Or, hey, this is also a tool that we use quite often. Hey, which DAC cable? Well, this is a tool called Product Bulletin. If you go to the online quick specs from HPE, just Google it, HPE online quick specs, you will see a download button, offline quick specs. Well, that's Product Bulletin. That's an executable that you're going to install locally on your PC. My colleagues, Wim, Christophe, Steven, they have this tool open permanently, because here you can find all the SKUs in there. So let's take a look. So here we have HPE Networking, we have Synergy, we have storage, we have servers. You can find the converged systems at HEI, that's SimpliVity. Let's take a look at HPE Networking. Then we go to switches. We have managed switches. And now let's take a look at that 6100, because I saw a question about 6100. Well, now here you can find all the details about the 6100. Yeah, with all the models that are available. So you just have to scroll down. These are the quick specs. And then just below, you will find all the part numbers. So there you go. Here are all the part numbers. Okay. Which switch has 24 ports with PoE, without PoE, and so on and so on. And then you go down, because here are the transceivers. Which transceivers do I need? Are they available in long distance and short distance and LC and SC and so on? Well, there you go, guys. It's all in here. Okay. Central licenses. There you go. The Aruba Central licenses, the NetEdit licenses, they are there. Technical specifications. It's all in here. Okay. So if you cannot find it, hey, we are there to help you, of course, but otherwise use Product Bulletin. And by the way, what I'm going to ask is, because what I found as well, if you go to AFP here, there is one presentation. Where is it? I advise you to go download it, but I will ask the marketing team to send it with a copy of the presentation, but go take a look at that Aruba Products as Solutions brochure from enterprise to small business. Why? To me, it's the Bible. For those, if you want to know what's the difference, what is available and so on, well, there you go. It's a PDF, which gives you a good idea, entry-level introduction with Aruba 600 series, the 500 series with the 550, 530, 510, 500. We have the 300 series. We have the outdoor and the ruggedized access points. When we go further, we have then the RAP, the remote access points, and the hospitality models. We have the gateways from Aruba. And then we have the software, with the mobility, the virtual gateway. Then we have the switches, of course, with the 8000 series. I just showed you the 8325. They're already in there. Then we have the 6000 series, 63, 62, 61, and then the 3800. I saw somewhere a question about 3810. How do we compare it? Well, here are all the details of the older. It's not old, but it's the previous generation. We still keep on selling the 2930M and the 2930F as long as they are available. The ruggedized 4000 series are in there with then very important software licensing, Aruba Central, user experience, Airwave, the Fabric Composer, security, ClearPass, the policy manager, ClearPass guest, and then finally Meridian, the location services, is a software called Meridian, are explained in here. And then finally at the bottom, the small business solutions with the Aruba Instant On, with the AP22, because the AP25 was announced last week. So AP25 unfortunately is not in there, but I assume in a few weeks from now you will find them in here as well. But I think this PDF is a really good start for companies who say, hey, I want to have an idea about Aruba. Well, or you take a look at the recording of this presentation, you take a look at this PDF, which you can find, by the way, here on Aruba Pedia for partners. And now, if you don't have enough information and you don't know where to get started, or you're stuck with something, well, at that moment, here's our phone number, here is our email address, or directly bart.junges@techdata.com. And otherwise, just call my friends, Wim, Christophe, and Steven. They are permanently in there. This is their job to create bill of materials. Which switch do I need to use in which kind of situation? Okay, we're there to help you. Yeah. And of course, keep on following us, because as soon as there are updates about new hardware and new software or new solutions from HPE, well, of course, keep on following us. We keep on sending you invites for sure as well. So, and by the way, there's the other link, techdataevents.be. So yes, we're going to send you a copy of the presentation. I'm going to ask to send a copy of this PDF as well with you. And all the recordings are available on this site as well. Okay. So from my side, I want to thank you for your time. I hope it was interesting. I'm going to stop the recording here.